Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Southern Dirt here in Central Florida, Zone 9. Today is August 24th and I'll be taking you through our garden to show you what it looks like realistically in the heat of summer. I typically don't do garden tours this late in the season because the garden just looks pathetic, but I wanted to share highlights of what things are doing great, what things are surviving the heat, and what things did not even make it through the end of the season. I also will be walking you through our food forest and highlighting some of the fruit trees that are producing in the heat of the summer, along with our new front yard garden and pumpkin patch. Currently working on a video that will share all of the plans that I have for our 2020 fall garden. That will include all of the seeds and different brands and different varieties and different times that we'll be putting them in the ground. So I hope you guys subscribe so you don't miss that video. So I'm really excited to show you guys my luffa plants. As you can see, they have grown up on the top of the roof, which that was not the plan, and are starting to trellis up this way. This is my little trellis here along our house. I planted just 4 plants. Now, since the summer, they have started to trellis up here. And look at those, and grown up onto our rooftop and now are starting to go up into this tree. I still have a ton of flowers and tiny little fruit setting. These loofas, I just measured them, are about 21 to 22 inches long, which is the longest loofas I've ever grown in my life. And I have just let these go. I really haven't fertilized them a whole lot. Just let them do their thing. I'm going to show you guys. I have harvested a few from here, but I want to show you. Look at this thing. It's awesome. Now, in the beginning of the season, I started to get a lot of worms, which you can kind of see the damage. I went to my local feed store and they told me that they're most likely army worms, and they gave me a product to use which has done amazing things. It's actually saved this plant, and I honestly think if I did not try, it's called BT. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name because I'm going to get it wrong, but I will put the name in the description below so you guys can look it up and try it yourself if you ever have any problems with worms. So this is trellised up my beautiful rack here where I have all my succulents, and it's starting to climb up this way. My husband looked at it and said, "Honey, I love you. Those loofas are awesome, but those are going to have to come down because we certainly don't want the vines growing into the roof there." Just get a ladder and carefully try to remove these from the roof. Do the best I can to save these loofas because I want them to dry on the plant so I can use them for loofah soaps. And maybe we'll harvest a few and try them young because I heard that you can harvest loofahs young and eat them like zucchini. So I'll give you an update on those if I do that as well. So I wanted to give you guys an update on our Seminole pumpkin patch here. These are native to Florida and do really well in our zone. This is the first time I've ever planted Seminole pumpkins. I wanted to do this in the morning while I can show you all the flowers and give you a peek at some of the pumpkins. There's one. Here's a nice one. Look at how beautiful that is. That's probably my largest one of the patch right now, but I'm starting to get a lot of smaller ones about this side. And flowers are getting everywhere, which is going to give me a better rate for pollination. And oh, here's one. Look at that. So what's nice about the Seminole pumpkins is that they store well up to 9 months in a pantry. So in the beginning stages, I did have some issues with worms, which I was able to get under control. I used BT again. If you were wondering what was happening in the background and all that chitter chatter, here's my children just calmly hanging out with me and being so good while I do this video. They will be back in school in a couple days, which I'll be putting out more videos, but I did want to let you know that as soon as I harvest this first batch of Seminole pumpkins, I will be putting aside
some of these pumpkin seeds for sale. So stay tuned to some future videos. I will be announcing that from time to time, seasonal sales for seeds, for some of my loofah soaps, and different plant sales. So I wanted to show you guys our papaya tree. This tree I started a little over a year ago and has already started to produce fruit for us. I harvested my first one, was so delicious. These guys got a little bit to go. You're typically ready when they start to turn a little yellow and get spots on them. But I'm super excited. This tree is towering over me. I've got several other trees that some of them are starting to produce. Some I'm not sure that are going to produce or not, but we'll just kind of see. This one is doing awesome. And here's our guava tree, which has been producing a ton of fruit for us. We've been getting baskets of them. I'll actually go ahead and grab this one. They're ready when they're almost a light green. I like to harvest them when they're this color, because if not, the squirrels and animals will come and take them from the trees. They smell them and they will eat them right off the trees. It's best to let them ripen on the tree. Wait for them to get a little bit more yellow, but in my circumstance, I rather just let them ripen on the table and have plenty of fruit for the family, and often animals will get plenty of them for themselves. So you see this tree is still full of guavas. Usually about this time of year, we're picking them left and right. Look at how pretty those are. I've probably only picked a handful of ripe ones. I'm pretty sure the birds are starting to get to them. These are just wild, which grow along this fence line. We don't do anything to them. A couple years ago, I did try to trim them back like you're supposed to, but since then I haven't really done a whole lot to maintain them and kind of just let them be wild and do their thing. We do plan on putting some different types of grapes in our front yard plot here this season sometime. I'm not going to go through our entire food forest. I just wanted to highlight some of the food that is coming in right now. If you do want to see our large variety of fruit trees and our food forest and our front yard forest and our orchard and all of these trees, I will link that video below in the description so you guys can check that out. We did just recently harvest a bunch of beautiful pineapples, which you can see the picture of our harvest in my Instagram account. If you're not yet following me on Instagram, you can find me at Southern Dirt Gardener. You can also find me on Facebook, which is Southern Dirt Gardener. It's a community page where you guys can join in and ask questions.
Here is my loofah plant. I've since taken it down from the roof and allowed it to train this way along the ground, and as you can see, it's already kind of looking for places to climb. The plant is healthy since I've pulled it down. Nothing really has changed. It is still pushing vines that I'm gonna have to keep under control, but the loofahs are huge and I certainly did not want to ruin the plant, so everything's good there. But I did want to show you, these are my collard green plants that I planted last fall, sometime in September. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let these guys stay in the garden. I want to see if they're actually gonna produce through another season, maybe become trees. I've seen where some people have done that. Here is my kale plant. This is probably the best looking kale plant that I had in the group. I have since then pulled all my other kale plants, and again, I really want to see if this guy can produce through the fall and survive through this heat of the summer and maybe just be a tree. So here is a bed that I planted actually back somewhere around after the pandemic hit. So March, April. At that time, the only things I found that could grow through the heat of summer that I didn't already have in the garden were peppers, eggplants, okra. So I went ahead and filled this bed up. As you can see, the peppers are doing awesome. This is probably my favorite pepper. I come into the garden almost every day and harvest these and eat them right off the plant. So these are shooting star eggplants, and look at how pretty these guys are. We've been harvesting a lot of these, and they're just so beautiful. So those are all doing well. Those will stay in. I will not be pulling those out. Look at these pretty flowers. I added some extra okra plants back here, and this one has been knocked over by windstorms and whatnot, but I've tried to stake it off, and I'm gonna let these guys go for a few more months and see if they can still produce. I recently propagated these flowers that you see that are lining here. I have them staged to go in. I started with 2 plants and made over 50 plants to share with friends and neighbors, and then also used to put in my own garden. So those are doing well. I haven't made a 100% decision, so tell me if you like this little border of flowers. They are succulent plants, so they don't need a whole lot of water, so they will not be in my irrigation system. Every so often I'll just come out here and water them, but they are so pretty. And another video I'll show you how you can propagate succulents, and if that's something you guys want to see, let me know, because I'll push that one up in the front of the videos. I have tons of lists of videos that I want to do. Just finally getting some time as the kids are back in school, so I'll have those for you guys shortly. As you can see, this is pretty sad. This is we're at the end of August right now, and a lot of my pepper plants that I had here, some of them have been taken over by bugs and heat, but I have some that are still doing pretty good. I did just fertilize, so that should kind of bring these back. I've kind of trimmed some of the ends that were really losing all their leaves, but they are still producing some peppers for me. Had a couple rows of okra here. I thought I could overwinter them. They were already struggling. I believe I have a major nematode problem, which I will show you guys in my next video, how I plan on treating my soil for nematodes and the amendments that I'll be putting into my sandy soil here in zone 9, along with all the seeds and my plans for fall. So I promise that is already in the works, and we'll have it out shortly. But that overwintering on these plants did not help because they were already too dead to have any kind of production. Now over here I'm going to show you my other garden of where I did overwinter some okra plants that actually did pretty darn good. So what I did is, these guys were about as tall as me, and I went ahead and cut them down to about knee height, and I only cut the main stalk. So what that allowed it to do is to push the bottom leaves and start growing up, which continued to produce more okra. So these are doing really good. I'm probably going to leave these guys in for a couple more months because they are still producing okra. As you can see, some of them have died, but some of them have survived and they're still producing for me. So since the summer has been so hot that my tomato plants completely died off. And that's okay. So I just want you guys to know that, hey, we're in a zone where there's so much heat in the summer and a ton of rain that you can't control in your garden. So that will certainly take over your garden. And I wanted to share this video because I didn't want anyone to be discouraged as you spend a lot of time and effort in putting your garden in, and all of a sudden things start dying. That's normal. I still kill plants, and I've been doing this for about 6 years now, but it's about knowing when to plant, how to take care of them, and controlling what you can in your own environment at home. So it really just take it as a journey and lessons learned. I'm still learning, and I enjoy learning. And if you guys have any tips for me, please make sure that you comment below on this video, because it certainly has helped me. All of my followers that have been with me for a very long time, you guys have and continue to encourage me, teach me, and it's so neat to come out to my garden and do some of the techniques that you guys are sharing with me and actually seeing it work. So I wanted to thank you guys for those comments. And as you can see, some of my pepper plants are surviving and actually thriving. Like this plant took a while to actually establish, but it is just pushing so many peppers right now. And I have little flowers that are popping out too. So even though some of my pepper plants have died, some of them are surviving. So I'm actually going to keep the healthiest pepper plants in the ground and see how long that they will last. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like and are subscribed to the channel. If you have any questions or comments below, please do so. And I'll see you guys next time.